It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Robinson's Brewery brought out a beer in 2012, I believe it was, with Iron Maiden, and they call it Trooper. And this beer literally went wild. Everybody wanted to try it. Everybody wanted to drink it. It was okay. It was okay. It was never going to be the best beer in the world. It was kind of like a Robinson's sort of kind of premium ale at the time, a few hops in it, and then it kind of just these beers then just exist, don't they? They just kind of like live in their own right. They live on the supermarket shelves, and then they slowly kind of just like tick down in terms of sales. They slowly become non-existent, a bit like my beer at the time, Barry Island IPA with Brains. Massive storm of everybody wanted to try it. Same as Brewdog's Punk IPA, and now it's just become a thing. It's just part of kind of like, it's not exciting anymore, is it? But Robinson's, fair play to them, they still have this Trooper brand, this Iron Maiden brand of beer, and they've gone with a pale ale and an IPA. 500ml bottle. Oh, wow, 3.4% ABV. When I read pale ale, and I was thinking, oh, that's going to be a good. I didn't look at the ABV. Is his name Brian Dixon or something? Dickinson or something? Iron Maiden. He likes his beer. Fair play to them. He'll turn up at Great British Beer Festivals and he'll pour some beer and he'll chat to people, and you know, that's the main thing. He likes beer. There's the bottle cap. Robbo's, as they're known locally in Manchester, they're a pretty, decent brewery, I think. They have their flagship beer, which is called Unicorn. These were on a 3 for 2 deal in Asda. They were about £1.80 a bottle. .4% ABV. It's very clear, very bright. One finger white head. Good levels of carbonation. Light amber in the colour. Doesn't have to be hazy. Beers don't always have to be hazy. That's that one. Let's get the now then. Now then, the IPA is 6%. Trooper IPA, 6% ABV. Now that's more like it. That's more like what I was expecting here. Blue label. There's the bottle cap. A little bit of smoke on the bottle opening. This could be interesting, this one. I didn't realise the pale ale was so light. I would have preferred the pale ale to be kind of like maybe 4.5% ABV, if I'm perfectly honest. This looks way more bodied. Look at that. That's more like it. Wow. Lots of body there. You can see the carbonation struggling to get through that body of the beer. I like that. It's reassuring, isn't it? One finger white head, good levels of carbonation. Quite clear again. Quite clear to look at. Amber in colour. But much more of a deep body to that one. I suppose though, if you're sessioning beer in the afternoon, a couple of these pale ales to get going, 3.4% ABV, then move on to the big boys, the big 6%ers. You know, that's probably what Robinson's Brewery are thinking. Aroma. Your regional brewery beer. It has a certain level of And after all of these years, I've worked out what it is. I never used to be able to put my finger on it, but it's like a sweet glucose syrup. The craft brewers kind of like who make cans in supermarkets have fallen into that kind of glucose syrup trap, if you like. They're starting to do it as well. You can definitely get it here. Sweet glucose, almost like, it's like kind of Lucozade type thing going on. Almost like iron brew. Almost like an iron brew aroma to it, with a bit of passion fruit and a bit of mango. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Fair play to the bitterness on the beer. This beer has a lovely striking bitterness on the back end, but I was specifically looking for that kind of sweet glucose, and it was definitely there. But then it was kind of masked very quickly by the hops in the beer. There was a lot of bitterness. There was a lot of kind of like almost like lemon and lime and grapefruit bitterness. Fair play. They've added some decent hops here. You can see that. See the fruit flies gathering around it? It's that sweetness, see? It's the sweetness in the beer. I want to see if it's hazy, so let's drink some more of this. Oh. So no haze. It's a bit all over the place, this one, to be honest. It's a bit... It goes from being sweet glucose to bitterness on the back end. It's like a cat clawing at your eyeballs. Glucose sweetness and bitter clawing at you. It's okay. It's okay. I think if you're a fan of Robinson's Brewery, I think if you're a fan of Iron Maiden, I think if you're a fan of the Trooper beers, then you're probably going to like this. You know, support your local brewery, all of that sort of thing. They're bound to have a big fan base, Robinson's Brewery. Yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna rate it straight away. I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It's just like, they could do so much better. Robinson's Brewery could do so much better if they wanted to. Here's the 6% IPA. I'm hoping for a bit better here. Oh, wow. It smells like toffee apples. The aroma is toffee apples for me. Sweet, toffee, biscuity, glucosey. The trouble is, I'm very conscious of glucose these days in beers because it gives me a strikingly bad headache. It really does. If I drink a lot of glucose in beer, it's like, oh no, head hurts, horrible. No, I can't do it. So I tend to drink a lot of German and Czech beer these days to kind of run away from that glucose-infused British beer, which is a shame. If you want to drink clean beer in the UK from good breweries, you're paying £4, £5, £6 a can for the stuff. Cheers. It's sort of got flavours of barley wine to it. It's like a slightly... Barley wine is 8% ABV. It's like a 6% barley wine. Carbonated, sweet, and it doesn't have, weirdly, it doesn't have the bitterness of the pale ale. I was hoping for that same bitterness in the pale ale as we have here in the IPA, but they've obviously had to choose between ABV because of price point, because this is £1.80 a bottle. They've had to choose to make it strong at 6% ABV, but then they can't afford to put the hops in. They can't afford to like bang them hops in, otherwise it'd be £3-4 a bottle. That's the thing these breweries are juggling, and that's the kind of double-edged sword you get when you decide to put your beer into supermarkets, is that people are only prepared to pay so much for something like this. If this rocked up at £3 or £4 a bottle, people wouldn't buy it. And that's the harsh reality. That's the harsh reality of this. And it kind of like sums up supermarket beer really well, actually. Low ABV, not much malt, glucose, but with hops. Definitely hops in the pale ale. Same price point. 6% ABV, sweet, toasty, burn, bonfire night, sticky toffee apples, with no hops. But they're restrained, they're strangled by the price that supermarkets will pay for this beer. That behind me there, let me rate the IPA. I'm going to give that that's like a 4 out of 10. It's not even an IPA, it's more like a barley wine. But that sums up right there. That sums up supermarket beer right there. There's no better example of supermarket bottled ales than what we had behind us. They're suffocated by what the supermarkets will pay for their beer. And in that suffocation process, they have to choose low ABV but some hops, or higher ABV with no hops. And that's the realities of it. The realities of this channel as well have changed. I've very much tried recently to review a £5 or a £6 beer from Verdant Brewing Company. I released one this morning, and whereas some of my videos might do really well and I'm really happy, a £6 IPA now dive bombs on my channel. People are not prepared to watch it anymore, and it's quite... I've been thinking about making a whole video on the whole subject of what's happened to craft beer. You know, I was approached by Talk Radio recently to do a talk on what I think is going on with Brewdog, and you know, we came to the conclusion that it wasn't worth posting the radio thing on Talk Radio. It just wasn't, because what I don't want to do is talk down craft beer. I don't want to be that person who kind of like, you know, is all downbeat, and because I like to try and keep this channel as positive as possible. But even me, I'm thinking, like, if I was to go and get a £6 can of craft beer, £7 can of craft beer, nobody wants to watch that anymore. Whether that's because people can't afford to buy it, or the people who used to watch that sort of video are not buying craft beer anymore. It's scary times. But that's another subject. I might cover it. I've covered it a little bit, haven't I? Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.